Hi everybody! Just a quick demonstration here on how I've blended my ink background on the card I posted earlier in the week with these cats and pumpkins. Big thank you to Sylvie of Callie's Cards because oh my gosh, she came up with this beautiful color scheme with orange pumpkins and a green colored sky with a glow around the moon. I fell in love and I haven't been able to stop. So anyways, on that note, I'm going to get started. I've got my image colored already with Copics. I've cut out a mask. This is obviously the one I've already used. I'm just going to settle it on. Takes full concentration. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I don't even bother masking the moon. I'm going to take squeezed lemonade. And I'm just going to go around in a circle. It's going to make that moon glow. That's pretty good. I'm just going to take mustard seed. Now I already have a little bit on here and just make that moon a little bit oranger, a little bit darker so that it's darker than the glow around it. I actually might want to take my carved pumpkin and just give it more of an orange color. Now the moon is done, so I won't have to touch that again. Now everything I'm going to do is going to be outward from that. Next color is Twisted Citron. I'm going to turn my sheet. Hold it on the masked part so that I don't get smudges in other places. Try to copy that circle I made and just keep going around it. And don't press real hard, otherwise you get this. Oh, can't see it very well, but it's like a hard circle, and you don't want that. So just a light pressure. I also am careful when I'm going around the mask because sometimes I end up lifting it by brushing up too vigorously against it, and then I've smudged the ink onto my coloring, and I don't want that. Notice I'm not going up too close to the glow. I'm just sort of staying on the outside of it. I want to fill in the rest of the sheet with this color because it's going to help as an undertone and mix with all the other colors I'm putting on, which is really just two more colors, Pine Needles and Black Soot. But I want it to be colored with this beautiful bright green as well underneath it. It's just gonna to make that the rest of it pop really beautifully. Give it a brightness. You don't have to be super careful because it's going to be colored over with Pine Needles and Black Soot. I can go right over my sentiment. It won't be too dark. You'll still see the sentiment for sure. skinny areas. I think I've caused some of the dark ink that's on the mask to blend into this twisted citron, but that's okay. That's okay because I'm going to be going over it with pine needles, so you won't notice. Just making sure I've got this circular area done the way I want. I think that's good. Moving on to pine needles. Sorry about the shake. Oh my gosh, I just saw my phone shaking, the screen shaking. I didn't realize I was doing that, guys. Sorry. So be real careful when you get up close to this glow. You don't want to put too much of this pine needles because it's going to just subtract that glow. So you go carefully and slowly. Still want that circle, so you got to preserve the circle. It's a little tricky. I'm not going to lie. It's a little tricky, a little finicky. I'll breathe a sigh of relief when this part's done. That's for sure. Okay, this alone does not create a nice blend from the twisted citron to the pine needles, so I actually have to go back into it with the twisted citron, but just get this circle done correctly first, and then I can blend it out with the twisted citron. Turning the paper is helpful to see if I've got a good circle, because it looks wonky in some areas. Like, I mean, from some angles it'll look wonky. It might look right to your eyes at first, and then you turn the page, you're like, oops, I've made a square circle. Yeah, see, it's like long and straight on the sides. Try to fix it. That's a little better. Oh, that happens. Hopefully on my next layer we can fix that little smudge. All right, just enough of that for now. Let's go back with twisted citron and see if I can blend that up a bit, especially this area. Right there, it's not so bad now. I'm gonna make my glow a little bit smaller. Kind of have to now because of that mistake. That's okay. Nope. Oh boy, yeah. I'm just mistakes everywhere. That's okay. Just keep going. Just keep swimming. It's always tricky around this area because of that tail. Okay. Phew. We made that area all right. Now it's wonky again because look, I've got a really thick glow here and a really thin glow here of the yellows. So I've got to make this a little skinnier. So I've got to come in a little closer to the moon with the twisted citron. Now you're seeing how I deal with mistakes too, right? It does take a bit of time to get a good blend. I guess it isn't quick, is it? Oh, I think that's all right now. All right, that's good. That's good. Okay, so getting back to pine needles. I'm gonna fill the rest of the page. I'm not gonna fill it completely though. I'm gonna leave some of the areas around the words at the bottom a little bit brighter. This is where you have to spend a little bit more time making sure you have a good blend. I've noticed though that the inks, they lighten a little bit when they dry, so as you're working with it, it might not look blended when you're going into an area that you've done already, and if you let it sit there for a while and you're going back into it with a wet sponge or brush, it might not look like it's blending, but it actually is because the ink has lightened a little bit with the drying process. So now when I'm doing this, oh, see now the bend, or not the bend, the edge of the paper is causing a straight line, so I've got to be careful of that. I don't want that. Okay, so blending a little bit of like this into the Halloween words, but not right all over them to darken them too much. Okay, now I take, what is this we? The royal we now takes black soot. And I'm going to go around the outer edges. Not get too close to those kitties. I don't want to get too close. I want to keep that, preserve that green. So see how I just make those little circles, and my pressure is very light. And stop when I get closer to this area down here. I think I'm going to keep going just a little bit, but I don't want to get close to the words. doggy. It's Miss Freckles. Gotta be careful when I'm going up here. I don't want to put too much black soot because that just will interfere with this nice green. So just a wee bit on the outer edges. So that it's just a hint, right? This is gonna look too black to your eyes as you're doing this, and that's okay because we're gonna go back over it with the pine needles. We'll blend it out with more pine needle ink. I might even go back. I think I don't like the transition from here to here. It's a little too, what's the word for it? Stark, I guess. So I'm gonna deal with that as well. So before I deal with the pine needles again, I think I'll get my twisted citron and try to blend out this. See, on this side it's really blended beautifully, but on this side it's a little bit, yeah, not blended. What's the word for not blended? Oops, I've got pine needles in my hand. Almost made a big boo-boo. Twisted citron. I think I'm gonna need to use pine needles actually. This is tricky. That's much better, much better. Oh yeah, much, much better. I think I'm actually going to grab squeezed lemonade again. Just see if I can blend from here to here a little bit. Fingers crossed this works, because I don't know. Oh, giving it a try. Oh, I like it. Whew, it worked. Oh, I like that. That's so much better. Okay. What are we at now? Oh, yes. Okay, so now we go back into it with pine needles where we did the black. And your brush, if you're using a brush or your sponge, is going to get some black on it. So just be aware of that and maybe give it a wash when you're done. Otherwise, you're going to transfer that black onto your next project. And if you don't want it, not a happy moment. So, a bit of soap and water gets it out though. side is done. Now this side. Getting to be very careful when I get up near the top where that glow is, because I don't want to interfere with it at all. Just checking it out, seeing if there's a spot I need to go over. I think this area right here. There, I think I would call that done. But before I take off my mask, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I was doing before as well with the silhouettes of the trees. So now I've used the tree assortment die from Whimsy Stamps, and I've cut out a couple of homemade stencils with these. So there's this one, obviously I used it already, and this one unused, so the big tree and the small tree. And I'll show you how I've got a few branches that are kind of going to give it that look of being grounded a little bit with some trees around it. You got to be careful with paper stencils you make at home, because my goodness, they deteriorate quickly, and before you know it, you know, you're trying to put your black ink on and all of a sudden the paper is lifting and it's like, ah, happened to me. Speaking from experience. Good idea to just sort of dab, because if you draw it along, it's more liable to tear or bend. I keep forgetting that I'm probably making the screen jump up and down when I grab more ink, and I apologize. Now we can just take a peek at how that looks. Ooh, nice. I like that. I'll just do a little one on this side. And if you want to as well, you can use this as a jumping off point for drawing some more trees on. You can draw them on yourself using a black acrylic pen or a black gel pen, and you can go nuts and just make a whole bunch of trees all around it. So just as it is right now, I'm just gonna gingerly peel off this mask. You can also put grass in the front too, if you've got a grass stencil, or even if you just, maybe you have a grass die cut that you can make your own stencil with. Ta-da! And there you go.